Does it often seem like no matter what you do to get through to your ex or to try to save things between the two of you, that they are just nothing but an impenetrable wall of excuses or reasons why things won't work, or just so stubborn that they're not open to giving the two of you an actual chance here? Well, in this video, we're going to be covering exactly what you can do to outsmart them in their game of resistance and trying to come up with an endless stream of excuses about why the two of you can't be together. And we're also going to be covering some very important points that you've probably never heard anywhere else, so please stay tuned through to the end of this video. Hey there, this is Clay with modernlove.life. Now, when it comes to outsmarting your ex, the first thing you have to understand is that you're not going to be able to really do this through mind games, okay? In fact, even the whole idea of outsmarting your ex is in a sense pitting the two of you against one another, right? And I get it, you want to save their relationship and they, at least currently, do not. So in a sense, the two of you are at odds against one another. But if you consistently see them as an opponent, someone to plot against, someone to strategize against, someone to outmaneuver somehow, it shouldn't take a rocket surgeon to figure out that this is probably not a great setup for a long-term relationship, right? If you see your partner as an enemy or someone you need to outsmart or outwit, chances are the relationship is going to have a few problems. I've gotten into a few tussles on social media with some, posturing people that say, hey, men and women can never be friends. You have to constantly keep them on their toes or something like that. How's that working for you, by the way? Anyway, it's one thing to sleep around or something, but if you want to have a committed long-term relationship, that's another story. But anyway, we want to get past this idea of mind games. And I get it. There are a lot of people on the internet, on YouTube, who say, you need to play hard to get. You need to use reverse psychology. You need to make them miss you by doing things like no contact or something like that to force them to play their hand, because we want to seem impenetrable and Teflon and like nothing can harm us and we couldn't care less. And if we do that, then they will eventually crack under the pressure and come crawling back over broken shards of glass, which we have conveniently left on our doorstep for them to crawl over. That is not a great setup, though, because again, it is pitting the two of you against one another. And as long as you see the two of you as opponents, as long as you see each other as opponents rather than as people cooperating and working towards a relationship goal that both of you want, then you're going to end up with a lot more struggling and challenge down the road. Because, hey, I get it. You can be in a tough place right now and you might think, okay, I'm just gonna, dabble in the dark arts of reverse psychology and manipulation and such until we get back to even, and then I'll flip it and we'll be good again. But no, it doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. Trust me, I've been there myself, and I have made a lot of mistakes and have a lot of battle scars to prove it personally. But you just want to cut past the mind games and instead focus down on being emotionally connected with them by being genuine. This gets us to the second point, which is to be genuine yourself, which is to show up with authenticity and to assume good intentions about them, because chances are they probably do have good intentions. I know, right? Again, I don't know your ex, but you probably do, and chances are, if they were a, Machiavellian narcissist or something like that, you would know. But as someone who doesn't know them, I can tell you that the vast majority of people are good-intentioned people who are just trying to get through this complicated, overwhelming three-ring circus of life and to just find a good connection with someone that they can have a happy life with. And if you can understand that, you can understand that, hey, we're all really going after the same things here. Unless your ex is a sociopath or something like that, right? In which case, all bets are off. But again, you should know that because you are the one who was in a relationship with them. But when you take that standpoint, that they're just a good person trying to do their best to get through life, then you're going to show up with more authenticity. You're going to show up with more vulnerability. You're going to show up with the stronger way of being that's going to encourage them to actually want to connect with you more. It's through sharing and vulnerability and transparency that we're actually able to create more strength rather than with posturing and pretending to be something that we're not, and ignoring people and playing mind games and stuff like that. Those are just honestly things that most of us should have hopefully packed away and left back in our high school or middle school days. And I hope to goodness that I'm able to raise my daughter to the point where she doesn't have to do that at all, even in her high school or middle school days. Stay tuned. I'll let you know in 10 years. But anyway, the more honest we can be, the better our connection is going to be. And if you believe that deep down, if you know that that's true deep down, and if you know that a strong relationship is built on honesty, connection, vulnerability, and authenticity, please do me a favor by hitting the thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribing to this channel and hitting the bell notification next to the subscribe button and all of that good stuff, because it does help me out with my low self-esteem, and also, more importantly, it helps me out with the YouTube algorithm because you're engaging with the content on this page. But anyway, all that aside, when you do this, you're giving them a powerful way to connect with you. And when they're able to connect with the humanity within you rather than on some sort of armor or front or act or guise or mask that you put on, then they're actually able to see you. And that is oftentimes the most disarming thing out there for an emotional connection, is to just be an open, honest person with someone. Now, I'm not saying you need to pour your heart out and confess your undying love and go begging and pleading and crawling over broken shards of glass yourself, because there's a lot of reasons for not doing that, which we've talked about in other videos, and you've probably been able to piece this together yourself, that the begging and pleading and all that stuff doesn't work, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But just being honest about your emotions and transparent, hopefully, like I'm able to embody right here in this video, is going to send a strong message to them that, hey, here's a real person here, not some, wannabe pretend pickup artist or someone who's, pretending to be hard to get, but really you're just, staying at home, organizing your sock drawer or something like that. And when you do this as well, too, it's also important to value yourself, value what you want, and value your own path in life, and enforce certain boundaries that you might need to for one reason or other. So, stay emotionally connected, be vulnerable and all that, but have certain limits to where you're willing to go yourself and what you're willing to put up with, and enforce those. And when you do, that embodies vulnerable composure, which is going to be one of the most powerful things that you can do to bring the two of you closer together and to have that emotional bond of humanity that connects the two of you. And then finally, one of the most important things that you can do is to give them the gift of owning the choice. Give them the gift of regret, right? So many times people will, let's just go with some arbitrary example here. One of the things that kind of miffs me is that a lot of people on the internet are saying, use no contact, always do no contact. No contact should be your go-to response for every bump in the road along the way. If you have a fight with your ex, do no contact. If you find out they're in a rebound relationship, do no contact. If you find out that they don't want to get back together with you, do no contact. And they just have it as a one-size-fits-all thing. Now, again, no contact has its time and place, just like any other tool. But if we use it at the wrong point in time, we're not giving them the gift of regret or ownership over the situation. So if you have a fight, for example, and you just go no contact, okay, fine, maybe that's going to have some result, I hope, for your sake. But it's not going to really motivate your ex to come back to you or to open the channel up of communication again, depending on how the fight went. They might just be thinking, oh, great, we're not talking again. Serves you right for being a jerk and, starting that fight or something like that. And now they're giving you ownership of this whole situation. They're giving you responsibility for this situation in their mind. And when that happens, they can always point the finger at you and say, we're not together because you're so stubborn, because you can't listen to me, because you prioritize things the wrong way or whatever. And that allows them to move forward with a sort of clean conscience, so to speak. But what we want to do is we want to embody transparency, as we've already talked about, and we want to give them the gift of ownership of the situation. Because if you're showing up, for lack of a better word, like a grown-ass adult, they are going to have to be honest with themselves, unless they're a narcissist, and look at their actions and say, okay, you are showing up as an adult, and if I'm going to cling on to pettiness and self-righteousness and all of that, is that really something that I want to deal with? Do I want to look back at my life, at decades from now when I'm on my deathbed and think that, hey, we could have had this great relationship, or we might have been able to connect or work through it, but I was too stubborn, I was too petty, I was too resentful, I was too whatever to just get off of it and to have a meaningful, powerful connection with someone who is right in front of me, just trying to have an honest adult interaction with one another. And by adult, I mean mature, not X-rated or something. Get your mind out of the gutter. Anyway, with all that being said, if you do want to embody all of these sorts of things rather than using mind games, reverse psychology, BS stuff, then what I'd really recommend that you do is to take some time to learn what we would call advanced relational skills. And you can find these advanced relational skills right over here in a playlist that I've conveniently made for you. Go ahead and click over here next. But once again, thanks so much for watching this. Take care, and I'll talk to you in the next video.